Welcome in, Betsperts Golf, here for our first look at the 2024 Zozo Championship. Do we have it in the to-do list with the Valero Texas Open? We got to hit January with an update.
I don't have that file. Like I might have to make a new opening. Like it might
need
have
a
to
whole
do
new intro.
Okay.
We
might need a whole new intro. I'll have to talk to Addison or somebody on that, see if he can edit this one. But we have one. I have all the old versions. I could throw in a Wells Fargo one. We could change it, but I don't have.
I like that it's just the Valero consistently.
The Valero Texas Open. We could do the Masters. If you're listening, it's not this tournament. All right, but this montage has different people getting jackets.
Yeah, I like the Valero because it's the excitement before the Masters. Right, that's the exciting piece. Subscribe.
It's my only other video. Hit the subscribe button.
Yeah.
I was going to learn some Japanese out of this, but I didn't have time for that either.
I spent a long 3 days in Tokyo years ago. And I don't know why my messed up American pea brain thought that it'd be a little bit more English friendly than it was. It was not. And
it is not. It is the opposite of Europe. Like
they are not interested in helping, assisting in any way. It was a challenging couple of days. Lovely country. Yeah, I would go again, but they were not super stoked to. And again, I'm I'm about 6'2". I look like a fucking giant walking around that country.
5'11" tops.
I mean, having to duck to get into places, I felt like just definitely a sore thumb walking around in downtown Tokyo. But yeah, really cool city. Get a chance to go, you should go. But and this would be a great chance to go. They love their golf, and they get a nice little field over for the Zozo.
Yeah, this course looks immaculate. It's a little goofy, I'm sure, if you've taken in any content or if you remember this from previous years.
For sure.
They do have a strange, not strange, but the kind of climate they have allows them to play golf year-round, but it doesn't allow them to have the same kind of greens. So a lot of these golf courses, you're going to see, there's two greens because you have your warm weather green and your cool weather green, and just different grasses. And a lot of them have just a huge bunker stuck in between them or some bunkering around that you can use for both. So it'll look a little funny when we're hitting some of these tee shots. You'll be able to tell which green they're aiming for, obviously. But other than that, it's kind of just Parkland-ish.
Yeah,
it's hard to describe that. There is a lot of, we don't want you to cut corners. On these dog legs, a lot of that is blocked up. So you got to work your way around this course, but it's short. It's a fairly short course, 7,000 yard par 70. And truthfully, it's not easy, but the field is so elevated compared to what we've been used to for the last month. You're going to see some, you're going to see some good scores. You're going to see some good shots because you actually have a bunch of guys coming in with, legit pedigrees. This isn't Bo Hostler's your favorite this week because he's been playing great. And, no disrespect to Bo Hostler, who actually played well here in the past, but it's weird because of the, what they've changed the swing season to, where if you finished outside the top 50, this is your shot to get into the Aon next 10 and set yourself up to play in some big events next year. You have to be willing to play these events and do well if you want to get into some bigger events, come springtime. And then you throw this one in the mix where it's a small field and you have a bunch of really good golfers coming in, and it kind of shakes your worldview because we've been used to hey, Bo Hostler's your fourth favorite, and here's Griffin and he's near the top. It's just it's a weird shake. It's almost like going from handicapping Myrtle Beach to, oh shit, it's the Masters. Stuff like that where you got to shift your brain a little when you're looking at the odds for this.
Yeah, it's true. And it's a small field, and the back end of the field is made up of a lot of Japanese golfers that have qualified through their own style, where that makes sense. Why would you not want to have your country massively represented in this unique experience where the PGA Tour comes over to Asia, which doesn't happen often. Obviously, it's not going to happen in season. Maybe it's a part of whatever the new golf tour ends up looking like in 2050, whenever we have some sort of agreement down the road. But yeah, definitely a unique experience and smaller fields. And I think it is a harder course. I mean, we don't have shot length data here, which makes it a little bit challenging. Sometimes we've had some weather that have impacted scores, but this doesn't run away even with the strong field into like a massive birdie fest. Because as you said, it's a smaller, shorter course, but actually because of like the way that it plays out, like it plays okay. I would say it plays like a medium style course because you do have a lot of like longer irons to do a handful of holes. The design in which the par 70 is laid out with the extra par 3, one fewer par 5. You just have some more longer irons, which is kind of when you look back at who's won here and who's played well here in the past, it's been some really good long iron players, in their peak with Hideki, Keegs, Morikawa last year, Tiger in the inaugural a handful of years ago. So that's kind of what we're looking at here in terms of the setup for the place. We've seen somewhat the top of the board come home with a trophy.
Yeah, there's different kinds of easy, isn't there?
Sure.
And it still trends slightly on the easier side of like average, but it's more in the case of there's not blow up holes. You're not. It's not honestly 3M. It's not Florida where there's all this water, all these opportunities to get into huge trouble. It's tough, and there's fewer, like you said, there's fewer scoring opportunities. You lose that another extra par 5. A lot of the par 4s are longer irons in where you're not going to have, unless you're really throwing darts, there's a lot of par holes, I guess is what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah.
And, not to say that there isn't defense. It is narrow. There's a lot of narrow spots for landing. And you do have to be pretty accurate. I think off the tee is going to be massive this week. It has been in the past year. Again, without the advantage of having shot link data, it's still been apparent. Like these are narrow fairways. There's some narrow corridors, landing areas. You need to be pretty accurate with your tee shots. And on top of that, even if you're short, let's say you're short off the tee but accurate, like is that usually a guy who brings strong long irons? Sometimes, because that has to complement it. If they want to be, somebody who's on the tour, oftentimes they have that complementary piece to a shortcoming like that. So it is going to probably come down to long irons, driving accuracy, and not screwing up in the greens because they're smaller greens. But I don't think it's like easy as far as the putting and short game has been here.
Yeah. And again, an interesting form discussion around the top of the board because we do have good golfers at the top, as you mentioned, which is a little bit, again, like these guys are all on tour. So I don't mean that in any, they're all good golfers. They would whoop me in Andy in any way, shape, or form. But, Xander, Sanjay, Minwoo Lee, Homa, JT, Zalatoris is here. So again, a different top of the board than what we've seen the last couple events, last couple times out. So, and these guys haven't been playing Sanderson Farms. They weren't teeing it up at Summerlin last week. So, we just haven't seen some of these guys, Xander, Sanjay, since the President's Cup. Pretty much most of these guys have in some longer, right? I mean, we haven't seen Zal or JT in a little bit. So it makes it a little bit more challenging. But again, historically, with the guys coming from the top, it feels like another spot where I would probably want to circle something at or near the top, which again, kind of flies in the face of what we typically do, but haven't made any bets yet. I want to thank Thor, my guy, Michael Thor Bjornsson last week from
for withdrawing.
Late WD, opened up a little bit of cash for me. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Let me go back and look at what Andy and I built on Tuesday. Let me get down on JT Poston. And,
I forgot. We got a victory lap. Your Poston ad.
I got a Poston win because Thor withdrew. So thanks to Thor, which would have been again a bad pick. I made a good one. So hopefully we can do it again. Nice little bonus to golf winners during football season are not expected. So we'll take those for sure. So thanks Thor. Not in the field this week. Not making the trek out to Japan. And that's another thing too. Like, I don't know, these guys aren't going through the motions, right? Like you're not going all the way out here
you're not flying to Japan to just. I mean, maybe there's one or two guys that are like qualified and be like, man, it'd be really cool to do some sightseeing.
Yeah.
But this is still a nice purse. This is opportunity for points.
Yeah,
Like,
it counts.
it's a long flight to go fiddle fuck around.
Right. So it makes me a little more open to even, like I said, something near the top. Because again, when you have Xander in the field, you're like, wow, he's pretty good. It makes so much sense that Colin Morikawa won here by margin last year. Feels like such a Morikawa place. Talking about accuracy off the tee, long irons, putting, the short game in general has improved massively. It feels like they are the class, and they are when you look at the betting board. They're a little bit ahead of everyone else. Hideki not too far behind, which makes sense too. And again, is one here before. Hideki not too far, but those three are pretty much in their own tier on the betting board. So, what other course nuggets should we share here before we get into it? I think you captured most of it.
Yeah, I mean, greens are small-ish, 5,500. They are bent grass greens, the ones we'll play on. The rough, so I said it's narrow fairways. It's not long rough. It's 2-inch Zoysia, which it's never easy to hit out of some of that. But the Zoysia can, correct me if I'm wrong, Zoysia can kind of prop stuff up too. I know people do enjoy the Zoysia fairways when they.
Yeah. You know who had Zoysia fairways? Valhalla.
Yeah, where it sits up on the Zoysia a little. So I don't think you can get huge trouble strictly because you're in taller grass. A lot of it is you're at a disadvantageous angle. On some of these holes where if you find yourself wayward, you might not have a clear shot to the green. It's not so much as like, I can't control my spin and distance or get a clean club face on this. It's more of like you're in a bad spot positionally for a long iron shot. And again, hitting out of rough is worse for control, spin, distance, everything. So I'm pretty big on accuracy. It might just be like, if I had to make a 3-part model this week, which I sometimes do a really simple one just to see what that looks like. Yeah. Fuck, I used it a couple weeks back, but it would be driving accuracy, approach, just straight approach, and then form. I would just throw those in because honestly, it's going to say, hey, Colin Morikawa, I guess, but
yeah,
I mean, it'll probably say Colin and then Xander, and those guys are clear of the field for some of these numbers, but.
All right, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Subscribe
the prices are going to be, obviously reflecting that. I think you can take some shots if you've had some guys that you've liked a little further that have played well, that did the flight. Like Harry Hall, 70-1. He's somebody I bet last week.
You love Harry Hall. Why do you love Harry Hall so much?
He top 10. I had some guys close. I had 2 guys in the top 10 from my card. Just couldn't quite. It's been the story for me. I find 2 or 3 guys that play well, but not well enough. I should be betting top 20s on everything. I feel like I probably made some money then, but no, it's like you said, Sanders 5-1, Collins 8-1, Hideki 9 or 10, and then there's a little gap to Sungjae, and then there's a gap to the rest of the field at that point.
Yeah. I'm messing around with it. I know I should probably do some more math on it to get a better sense of this is something I need to be doing more frequently. I do have a book that offers each ways. And I've been messing around with that and had posted on an each way. I know obviously typically losing the best of the number in the outright market when that happens, but I also feel like maybe it's just confirmation bias. I feel like the last couple of years I've had so many seconds and thirds, and those are so frustrating. Or I'll have a T20 on it too, typically, or T30, T40, depending on the price of the player. But it's also like the each way payout would have been substantially more than my T40, plus 115 paid myself out. So trying to juggle when's the right time to do that, pricing that stuff out. I have to play around with that a little bit. So, but trying it out here in the swing season and, whatever. Left some money on the board with Poston, but again, this is definitely not
it's funny when you finally go to the well and you buy the insurance, you don't get in a car accident.
Right. That's all right. Yeah.
Yeah. You made it to the destination. That's what matters. You made some money on the week.
Yeah.
Had you built a model out this week yet? I have not gotten one together yet.
I have not. I'm not. I probably won't during the fall. I like doing it here fresh. I like the remedial version of it too. Like you said, I don't feel like getting super granular in the swing season. I just think it's harder because of form. I just don't think we have guys playing enough golf where I think it matters a little bit less. So I think getting too granular is probably a bad way to go about it. So maybe someone disagrees, and that's fine. That's why the rabbit hole is available for you to do whatever you want. Yeah, for sure. We allow ours to be public for you, make it public and do it live on the show. And again, lots of ways to skin a rabbit. I think I could say that, right? We can skin rabbits still. Okay,
we're fine with that.
Okay, can't skin cats, but yeah, let's do it. Let's build something here. And I'm good with doing something very simple. Like you said, when you talk about form, there's so many ways to capture form. You were talking about driving accuracy, approach, and then form. Is there a one-stop shop way that you will build out form? Do you just have a rolling form model that you like to use? What would you suggest?
I have a rolling form model, but what we've been doing lately has been a little bit of putting in some filters when we do look at our form. We've been saying, hey, these are a bunch of guys who don't play the majors, a lot of them. These are guys who are in and out of the fields. Let's look at them playing against each other rather than, he got into 2 signature events and got the shit kicked out of him.
Sure.
So we did those filters. We said, I want to look at easy scoring conditions, easy, weak fields. I don't know if that's what we should be doing here with a couple of guys that don't match that criteria anymore. And I'd say, it's only 3 or 4 guys. Yeah, but it's only a 70-man field. So if you want to just, kind of look at form, maybe a bigger picture would be good. Maybe like a 2-year or a 1 year. I could make a case for doing a 2-year form of just, stroke skin total. And then looking at a 1-month form, and just building in also who's playing well on the on the swing season. It's not going to give any weight to Xander, Collin, Sungjae, Hideki, but I think that's fine. They'll find their way to the top of the model in other ways.
Yep.
Just give some guys credit for playing good golf this time of year.
Right. You would want to build a model that's not so overfit that you're not going to get the best golfers at the top. And I think obviously dialing back in a 2-year sample, you're going to, I think, capture that. And that's okay. We're not trying to stuff the model with stuff that doesn't matter. What would matter more than just who's consistently better at the game than the rest of the field. So that's what this is. All right. We'll do 2 years. 2-year total. All right. I like it. Back out. I'll do something a little bit shorter. We can do, let's see here. You can do fall swing. Let's see who's done fall swing, and I'll capture. I guess this is going to capture this anyway. Who's played here? Last 16 rounds. So some of these guys have barely played. Some of these guys have played once. These are guys that have played a lot, or at least once. And then played well. Haas again, still looking for that first career win. Andy will go down with Harry Cole and Hostler crossing the finish line for the first time.
Go look at Kitayama too. I dogged on Anthony. Who was it? Michael Kim. Almost called him Anthony Kim. Don't want to get mixed up with that guy. There's if you scroll up and look at Kitayama is one good putting round away from winning an event too.
Oh, I know.
Just full on early career Morikawa, where it's oh man, wish this guy could putt a little.
Yeah, because when you look at this is a 54 golfer sample, and you see Kitayama putting his short game, bright red,
and he's still second. He's somebody I'd be interested in the coming weeks too if he plays some of these other events, Worldwide Tech in a couple weeks. We're running out of events. So.
True. All right, we'll add this. This is our swing season. Again, this is going to not capture anything for the top golfers in the field. So we'll see what happens there. This will be fall swing. Right, because we have not, Xander, Morikawa not participating in fall swing events. which is fine. That's what we're trying to do here. Mix it up a little bit. Let's get some guys from the down the board, longer shots that make some sense. Right now, it looks like we have 68 in the field. We're still waiting on some of the final bottom of the board guys. Interesting to see, just searching here last 6 months in this field, strokes gained total, and to see Max Homa all the way down here, just almost painted red across the board. It's been a rough ride for Max, who played some decent golf actually at the President's Cup, but been a rough ride for my guy Max.
That's a rough ride. Oh.
All right, off the tee, touched on accuracy. I think there are a couple different ways to capture it here. Obviously, I think distance from the edge of the fairway, good drive percentage as well, where we're capturing, keeping yourself in play. I think those two are good ways. Is there anything else you want to add, or should we just add those two?
No, let's split those two up like we did last week.
Okay. Let's go for a bigger sample here. I'm going to get some small sample with some of the Japanese guys, but we'll filter them out with the 8 rounds. Go good drives. Oh, Fishburne again. I just learned that Doug Gim is from Arlington Heights, which is very, very close to where I am here. I did not know Doug Gim was a local Chicago suburb product, but I would be cheering for you, Doug Gim, but last week I was cheering for you to lose and to miss putts and to not stuff approach shots and make my guy Poston sweat those last 4 holes. But our distance from the edge of the fairway, again.
Doug Kim story, or my Doug Gim story?
No.
A Freudian slip. I called him Kim too. When I first started betting golf, a lot of it was just strictly straight modeling and using form. And I didn't watch. I watched a bunch, but I really only caught it on Sundays for the most part. And I'd bet against Doug Gim a lot of times. I don't think I'd ever seen him play. And we were watching golf. I'm like, holy shit, Doug Gim's Asian. Just had no idea. Like the picture of him in my head, it's just like some Midwestern white dude from the suburbs. I guess he is from
Doug.
States, but yeah, he didn't have I guess Gim didn't register as like a clearly Asian last name for me. Just really shook me. Like, oh man, this isn't the Doug Gim I pictured. And he's become even better since then. I've probably bet on the guy more since I've discovered a little bit about Doug Gim's backstory.
Yeah, I mean, we joke that he is a model darling because the ball striking is so good, and we tend to not weigh putting nearly as much. And anything you're getting from a heavy approach, a heavy tee to green ball striking standpoint, Doug Gim's going to model pretty well and that stuff. It's something that he's really good at. A little short off the tee, but these are spots where he's going to pop. So, all right, we captured those two. Bad news for your guy Harry Hall. We'll see how he comes out here. He's not profiling well in the good drive and distance. He's a little over there. So approach again captured a little bit in the good drive percentage, but is there anything else approach wise that you want to hone in on? Yeah, what do you think?
No, just straight up approach, or if you want to do like 200 plus. I don't know what the dispersion. The dispersion's long, but it's not like strictly long. There's still other shots. I don't want to pick
without a doubt.
I don't want to pick a range.
Okay, I agree. Let's see. Last 50 rounds approach. We'll dial it in here. A little bit smaller sample. Still pretty decent sample, but since we have some longer term overall form, we'll dial in a little bit more. Again, number 2 in approach. Last 50 rounds in this field. Doug Gim. Xander Gim, Kitayama, Spawn, Hideki are your top 5 there. Guys you would expect not too far off the pace. Approach. We got off the tee. We got approach. Anything short game, putting.
Nah, probably not at this one.
Okay.
It's not a high green and regulation rate kind of place. Like some people have talked scrambling. But it's pure ass bent grass, man. It's just gonna be make your putts that you should make kind of day. I don't want to penalize bad putters because if anywhere this is the kind of surface where you see a bad putter spike, and I don't want to give advantage to good putters because, like I said, this kind of evens things out just being a flat, easy, pure surface.
Yeah, Ron notes in his preview on the site, greens and reg are a little bit lower than average, so you will have scrambling a little bit more from rough and bunkers than typically, but it is fairly easy and benign to scramble here. So that almost comes on the wash for me when we think about like, all right, it's not necessarily a challenge to scramble, even though you're going to have to be asked to do so at a higher rate. So it's kind of a tricky way to go about it.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm fine leaving it. Yeah.
Okay. We don't do anything scoring wise. I'm going to put in putting, and we'll just weigh it barely. Just see the last 12 months overall. Not going to get into any split putting. Last 50 rounds putting.
All right.
And again, we'll give it a little tidbit because I think that's only 4 things. I like this is our again. I think this is okay. Oh no, look at us. We got more than that. My bad.
Well, yeah, because you wanted to do accuracy in 2 different ways. So we're splitting that up.
True.
And we have 2 different forms. We have 2 years and then the fall swing form.
Zozo. All right. This is our big anchor. We'll go 25 here. Fall swing. We're going to go a little bit lighter because, again, it's not going to capture everybody. Let's go good drives. We'll kick this out. This is from the edge of the fairway. Here. And what do we got? All right. We got
105%.
That seems like too much.
It's from the original Willy Wonka. That's 105%.
Good.
All right.
Save it.
We've got a model built for anyone listening in audio form with same 25% long-term 2-year form. 15. Am I reading this right? 15%. It's a little small for me now. I'm gonna have to go full screen while I read this.
True.
15% full swing form. 35% good drive percentage and distance from edge of fairway. We split that up 17.5 each. 20% approach and 5% putting. And that's 100%. We're going to hit go on the magic button. See who pops up at the top. That's probably Xander. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh,
Doug Gim.
Doug Gim, Andrew Putnam at the top.
Xander's 6th. Oh man.
So again, this might be just a situation where like this lack of 15% in the model is punishing these guys. Right?
Yeah. They've basically, it's just been 5 WDs for them in the fall swing. None of them have done anything. Oh. Doug Gim, putting, holding him back, obviously, but we weighted that very low. And he's been accurate. He's been great on approach. Just can't putt worth a shit. Same with, Kurt Kitayama, same kind of thing. He's been playing good golf. He's been playing good in the fall swing here. Accurate, great approach, can't putt. Probably got to add both guys. I love team no putt on bent grass like this. So
yeah,
I'll have to go look at prices. Obviously, if they're like 25-1, maybe I'm less interested. But you would think guys like that have a little. Kitayama is 25-1. Fuck. Yeah. Gim's 40. I'm gonna hunt. Maybe I'll find something closer to 30. I did say it. I said I'm gonna bet it. Maybe I should bet it anyway, but it's still a small field, and he's been playing so well. Gim, I found a Gim 35 just now. So Gim 35 and
some good 40s. Looks like, is Chris not the 40?
Chris is 25 on
Doug Gim?
Kitayama.
Oh, Kitayama. Sorry.
Kitayama.
Okay.
So I found Gim 35, Gim 40. Kitayama is, where is he here? He's 22. And another buck. Yeah, it might that might be tough sledding, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, I just 25x'd my money. Oh no. Like it's still fun. It's not the price I was hoping for, but man, the form looks good.
Yeah, again, these are harder prices too, because the point I think you were making at the top is because we do have a smaller field, right? So you're not going to get your long shots are really buried. I mean, your guy Harry Hall, 72. I'm seeing on Chris, 60s the best I see in domestics. Gonna have to scroll down here for Harry Hall. Let's see where he is. 31st. Again, this good drives accuracy combo.
Not his course. Like I did bet him in previous weeks where we had these fairways for, or runways for fairways.
Yeah.
You know, his accuracy off the tee, huge dude. I don't know if you heard.
Big guy.
Don't love him as much here. I don't think I'll be backing him in this spot. It feels like he'll be a lot of recovery shots. I don't need that here. I need him to keep up with the big names and Doug Gim.
So yeah, Doug Gim, Andrew Putnam. Where's let's see, Putnam on the odds board a little further down. Yeah, Putnam 80s, 75 on Chris. There's some 50s out there. So like, you know, someone's taking some Putnam action and moving on it. But 80 is out there. Caesars, FanDuel. Caesars never has the best price on a golfer. So Caesars got an 80 on Putnam, which is interesting.
First time for everything.
He's 50 at the place that I would each way. So that's good to know. So that's off the board. Yeah. I mean, for me, it's just like, do I want a single bullet? One of the two at the top. I'm thinking about it. I don't know what to do with that. I don't know if I should just single bullet it, if I should each way it, cover myself.
Single bullet Doug Gim. I don't know about that. I will play Gim and Kiriyama, 25 and 40. I'll have to look at what my models. I'm going to put something together here after this as well. I'll probably put it in the newsletter.
Ben Griffin looks like the value here, right? Because Ben Griffin 4th in our model, everything's decent across the board, and he's the long price. There's 70s out there on Ben Griffin in multiple spots, and he's the one that kind of competing with the rest of the guys. Spawn doing well in the model too, also half the price. He's 40 and change. So just in terms of this model in the odds board, Ben Griffin looks like the value play for sure.
Ben Griffin, not great off the tee numbers, which is important here, but everything else is playing well, and he is playing good golf right now. He just, it was not the optimal outcome at the Shriners. I think he finished one off the cut line, but T11 at Black Desert, and he played well at, some of the summer events that suck. Like, actually, Wyndham's not a bad event.
No.
He was T7 at the Wyndham, T5 at the John Deere, which is a bad event. So he's been able to play, and I forgot he played so well at the Canadian Open.
He was in the mix on Sunday in Canada.
Yeah, he was very much in the mix. So he was somebody I bet last week. He was the only bet of my 4 that didn't make the cut. Probably have to look at him at 80. I just worry that I'll have him a little low because of his off the tee stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to trust this. So I did with
St. Simon's Island, Georgia.
Yeah, he's a Sea Island guy. Yeah,
he's Sea Island Mafia. They're recruiting new members, I suppose. Some of those guys are aging out. Anybody else top that you liked?
No, I might do a trust the model and Ben Griffin it, and then I might pick a Xander or Morikawa. Just like I said, sprinkle smaller unit size than I would in the fall, but to get a little bit of something. Hopefully, have a sweat on Sunday. I just can't see. I mean, it happens. Xander's not gone here and torn it up, but I think he just continues to take strides forward. Part of it why he's so appealing is just even at the guys at the top of the board, even in a full field event, Xander's the best putter of the bunch. So he's just never dead. There's just everything's good in his game, and he's great at long irons and putting.
And even if it hasn't been success here, I can point to a shining example of him playing pretty well in Japan in the past.
Yes.
And I mean, the comp courses for this as well. He's played well on some of the, Parklands.
That was my Zoyser Grass fairway comment. Valhalla, he played pretty well at Valhalla. I believe he won that tournament. So, I mean, I don't hate it. Again, price isn't great, but at the same time, like, I don't know. Is he not significantly better than everyone in the field? I feel like he is. I don't know. It's not super fun to tune in and be like, oh, these dudes are touting Xander Schauffele. Like, bold call, but I don't know.
Good comp to Valhalla too. Like, this is a nice course, but it is not a major level event venue. They should not hold majors here. So good comp to Valhalla in that sense as well.
Yeah.
We hadn't done any Valhalla shade in months.
We haven't shit on Valhalla.
That was fun for a month. Everyone just shat on that place. I do hope we never go back there for real though.
It was interesting to see Scotty on College Game Day on Sunday. And he had to pick the Miami Louisville game, And he took to it. He's just like, yeah, I don't have a lot of great things to say about Louisville. Like not a spot that I root for or cheer for. And yeah, no, he handled it pretty well. It's funny.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, I'm going to avoid the top 4 names. I'm going to stay away from them. Putnam I'll put on my list. You know what? Like Piss Bear, he's now on a list. I will see what I think of this guy in my models. Not somebody I've bet a ton. It doesn't feel like. Obviously, like I said, Kim's someone I've looked at. Griffin is someone I bet last week. What do you think of Chan Kim? It's my only other one.
Really good. Yeah,
that's the other one where it's like, hey, the putting hasn't been there, but everything else has been so good. And does he win a weird event like this?
Possibly. Did he come here last year? What's Chan Kim's? He was not here last year.
No. I don't know if he existed last year. I thought he was younger too. He's older. Another good South Korean player, but the putting has been a little suspect. He too missed the cut last week, but we saw some decent events, decent results again at the what do you call them? They're not all alt events. We should have a category for like alts plus like John Deere, 3M, swing, like the second tier, like, because he did play well at ISCO. He played well at John Deere. He played well at the Wyndham. And then it's been okay in the fall. Last week, the putting got him. I mean, he lost 2 strokes putting over 2 rounds, and you can't do that at the Shriners and make the cut.
No, not at all. For me, I think I'm going to get down on some Ben Griffin at price, and then I'm probably going to take a shot on Colin or Xander, and hopefully have a sweat on Sunday with one of these 2 guys. Otherwise, chalk donkey, give back my posted money. I won't give all my posted money back, but yeah, I think that's the way I'm going to. I just think they're head and shoulders above everyone. Recent enough form, both played really well in the President's Cup. In just good fits, great long iron players, no real flaws in the game. I mean, Morikawa played so well last year. To not win anything other than since here last year is just stunning, with considering the gains he made on and around the greens and how more consistent his approach game got as the season went along. As seemed like he was sliding there a little bit in terms of where he had been for 3-4 years prior, and just seems like he gained all that back. So yeah, feels like a guy that I'm going to bet a bunch. We're in that California swing early in the season, back again. It's Riv, and we're in the deserts in Scottsdale. Like, I'm just going to end up betting Colin a handful of times. I know early, because he should have got home last year at some point.
Well, just by winning this event, it kind of turns you into a guy where, does he need form to win? Or can he just come in after not playing for 6 weeks and win a golf tournament? And who knows what these guys are doing in the offseason? That's the tough part about the top 4 on the board, figuring out, like, have you been, messing with new equipment? Have you been trying out, changes in your swing or your mechanics? Are you working with new coaches? Like, a lot of this stuff is very underreported unless you,
for sure,
unless you know someone inside the camp, and then you find out like on Thursday, oh yeah, he switched putters, and here's a new coach, and hell, he might even fire the caddy. It's tough when these guys have 8 weeks off. A lot of them are just, you see where they live. They live on Sea Island. They live in Phoenix. They live in various places in Florida and Texas. Like, they just probably have been playing their home courses. That's all they do, is like, I'm going to go out and work on things on the home course. So it's not as if they haven't picked up a club in 6 weeks. It's just they haven't probably played much competitive golf. It's been noodling around on the courses in the area.
Yeah, do I feel like Chan Kim and Matt Kuchar have an advantage because they've been playing tournament golf over the last couple of weeks, and Colin and Xander haven't? No, not particularly. So that's just tough, to your point. Like, it's always fun to learn new things on Thursday, and it's like, this would have been great on Tuesday to know. Oh yeah, he changed all the clubs in his bag, and he's switching balls, and he fired his coach. It's like, oh, okay.
And some of these guys, they live in areas where there's multiple pro golfers, and they play with them. Like Bingo Bango Bongo against Spieth every Thursday is more competitive than playing Black Desert.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
it's not as if they've forgotten how to compete and how to win. Obviously, as evidenced by Morikawa. So yeah, I'll have Kitayama, Griffin, and Gim. Possible Putnam. I'll probably 4 or 5. That's it. Gonna keep it nice, little tight, light card. I don't have each ways. Just I'm going for blood.
I like
Taking the win. We're going over to Japan, getting the win. Won't watch as much of this because of the timing, but I'll try to catch some because it is a pretty course. If you get a chance, do check out some of the coverage. As I say that, who knows what the coverage is going to look like? God, I guess I'll watch it Saturday. That'll be the ticket. So
we don't have any London, we don't have any Europe football this week. So, maybe not that we're going to get out before necessarily, but
if you want to build a model, you can do so for $29.99 a month, $14.99 a week, $249.99 for the year, or instead of $249, I can give it to you for $10 if you'd like. All you do is sign up for Rebet. You buy $10 in Rebet cash, and one of our nice customer service reps will send you an email and be like, here's your unique code that you can enter at betspertsgolf.com. It'll give you 365 days of full access to premium articles, tools, and especially the rabbit hole build your own models. Members get to check out everybody's expert models. Andy Lack will be making one every week, at least one. He usually makes like 3. You make them, I make them. Ron, Matt Vicenzi. You can go and click on other people's models like that. Check out what other people are doing before you build yours or to complement yours. And obviously, as we talked about in the past, you can download them all as CSVs really easy and quickly if you want to fiddle around with them in Sheets or Excel or do anything else that, matches what you do for your process. If you're working on matchup bets, if you're working on top 20 bets, whatever it is you're doing. If you have any questions, or honestly, if you have any suggestions on the next things we should be adding to the tools, if you are a member, hit us up on Twitter at Betsperts Golf. I'm at Twitter at AndyMSFW. He's at RY Noonan. You can also bug at PGA Splits 101. Ron is always happy to chat some golf, even this time of year. So for all of us, like I said, check it out in the show notes if you want to take advantage of that Rebet deal. Otherwise, hit the thumbs up on the way out, and we'll catch you next week.